New Super Mario Bros. Games are some of Nintendo's most successful games, but also the most controversial. Everyone knows them, and a lot of people have played at least one of these games, but now everyone seems to think they're bad or just mid. So were these games actually bad, or did we just get force-fed until we didn't like them anymore? Mario Bros. Wii released in 2009, and at the time this was pretty much a no-brainer. Adding multiplayer and expanding on such a successful game was the most obvious choice for Nintendo, but I think they could have done more for this title. They reused the visual art style, the assets and the music that New Super Mario Bros. DS used, and this is disappointing, because in my eyes it's part of the reason why this game doesn't have a unique identity, even though I think this game could have been such a standout. Just like the DS, the controls haven't aged that well. I mean, it feels way smoother than the DS, and it isn't bad at all, but I still felt like I died to the controls rather than the game a couple of times. A lot of people seem to think that the levels are a bit empty, and I can definitely see this being a problem if you play alone. But I mean, it's a game made for multiplayer, but I do think they could have done more to make the single player experience stand out more. The biggest thing that New Super Mario Bros. Wii does well though is the 4-player couch co-op multiplayer that's iconic for ruining friendships. The multiplayer in this game is absolutely iconic, and it's a huge part of what made Mario Bros. Wii so successful. The better hardware of the Wii made it possible to create bigger levels with more variety. The new world map made the levels feel more connected, and despite having basic worlds, they still have their unique identity. The game also introduced the penguin suit and the propeller mushroom, which in my opinion still hold up as two of the absolute best Mario power-ups. They are such a blast to use. Of course, like the name suggests, with a propeller mushroom you can fly up. The penguin mushroom not only lets you fire ice balls like the normal ice flower, but it also lets you glide on your stomach, and this is some of the most satisfying gameplay in the levels it's in. Mario Bros. Wii just also feels like a cultural couch co-op gaming phenomenon. I mean, everyone played this, and it's the most sold for a good reason. It still holds up well, and it's just overall an iconic game. It's just a good and memorable game, but it doesn't hold up as well as some of the other Wii classics. It is still 100% worth playing today, and it should not be forgotten, since I think this is the best New Super Mario Bros. Game they've made. When New Super Mario Bros. DS first came out in 2006, it was a huge deal. Keep in mind that this was the first 2D Mario in 15 years, and at the time it delivered exactly what people were hoping for, and it got amazing reviews. This was the first game in the new series of Mario platformers, and it introduced a new art style and branding they used for all the other titles. I mean, at the time this was a phenomenal game, but did it hold up well? Having replayed this game recently, it was immediately apparent that it didn't age too gracefully, to say the least. For example, the visuals kind of suck. Don't get me wrong, it's charming for a console like the DS, but saying it looks good would be downright delusional. The controls have also aged like medium-sized ass cheeks. They feel fine for the most part, but it just doesn't feel responsive, and wall jumping or landing on a single block feels like I'm trying to wipe my ass with a razor blade. The game did, however, introduce the now iconic wall jump mechanic, which made the gameplay and parts of the level design way more in-depth than before. The game was a perfect return to 2D Mario, and it is such an impressive game for DS hardware. The levels are simple and well designed, and while they don't hold up to newer titles, it's perfect for on the go. It's still such a nice platformer to play once every year or two, and while nostalgia does do the most heavy lifting, there's still a lot of fun to be had there. I mean, as long as you're not actually going insane because of the controls, because they are awful. New Super Mario Bros. 2 released in 2012, and it was not the most mind-blowing game ever revealed. At this time, people were already getting tired of the same 2D Mario formula, and honestly, this was completely understandable. The focus on the coins also felt a bit too much, and while they're fun to collect, they also don't really give you a reason to, and it feels a bit gimmicky. It used the same bland world themes as the other two games did, and for the most part it was just reused assets and music from the other games, and this was really starting to get annoying. It isn't a bad game by any means, and I actually think it's a really solid game, but it just doesn't stand out in the 3DS library. New Super Mario Bros. 2 felt like an upgrade from the DS title in every single way. The levels are more creative, they're bigger, the visuals were refined, and the controls were actually smooth this time. They feel so responsive, and the game just feels so much better to play. The coin gimmick also gave this title its unique identity, and while it's kind of fun, I also think it's unnecessary. I think they did a good job of implementing it in the game without sacrificing level design, but they could have done so much better. It feels like they had a meeting on what exciting new feature they could add, and this is the best what they could have come up with. The DLC is also a nice addition, and the coin rush mode is honestly really fun. Overall, this is just a super disappointing title, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's a phenomenal game to be able to play on the go and then forget it exists. Mario Bros. U released at a time where people were getting tired of the 2D Mario formula, and because of that, people labeled it as uninspired and just another copy-paste Mario game. And that is absolutely true. I mean, it wasn't anything revolutionary and it's just another game with the same boring style. Of course, Nintendo being Nintendo, they saw those numbers and thought, hey, let's do it the 4th time. When Super Mario Bros. U released, a lot of people just didn't give a shit. Oh, yeah. But even though it might not have been the most inspired, there's still a lot to be liked here. The game still sold well for Wii U standards, but a lot of people didn't seem to enjoy the game. Not because it was bad per se, but because they were tired of the same rinse and repeat game that had been released 4 times by now. If you've never played a new Super Mario game before, New Super Mario Bros. U is actually a really solid 2D Mario. It still has everything you would want from a platformer. The level design is clever and creative, the controls are tight, and U is in my opinion the best in the series. This isn't some piece of turbo cheeks that people claim it is. It's polished, responsive and smooth, and also, this thing released on the Wii U, I don't think Nintendo is ready to take big risks. For a lot of people, this might have been their first Mario experience, and this game holds a lot of nostalgia for me personally. But what does it do well? I mean, the level design is way more creative than people give it credit for. While there are definitely some shitters and nothing burgers sprinkled in here, levels like the Van Gogh Swampland is one of the best looking and creative 2D Mario levels to date. The overworld map is great, and while the connections don't make any sense, it's still a fun world. It has secret paths and a secret level in almost every single world. The boost mode on the gamepad was also fun if you have more than 2 friends. Challenge mode added a lot of replayability, and it's a fun side mode thing to include. The flying squirrel suit is also one of the most fun power-ups to use in Mario history, and gliding just feels so smooth and it's just fun to fly around. Also, these Yoshis are the best thing to have ever graced this earth. I mean, yeah, it still uses that same boring art style the other 3 games did, and yes, they could have definitely taken more risk. But to me, a lot of people just didn't give this game a fair chance. If New Super Mario Bros. U was released earlier or had been the first 2D Mario game, you'd probably be looking at it way different. I mean, let's be real here, New Super Mario Bros. U is not the second coming of Christ. It doesn't take big risks, it plays it safe in every aspect possible, and it's not the most stunning piece of media ever created. That title goes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But it's also smooth, well crafted and full of smart design. If this had been the only New Super Mario Bros. Game, it would be glazed out the wazoo. I mean, it's not Elden Ring or anything, but people treat this like it's Concord. So yeah, the game is definitely overhated. Some of the criticism is extremely valid, but some people just hate this game with a passion because it's just easy to shit on. People were just exhausted, and looking back on this game, I think it's a really fun game to just enjoy now and again and then forget about it. Personally, I have a lot of nostalgia playing this with my friends, and I still enjoy playing through it every few years. What really made people dislike these games is the fact they use the same new branding over and over and over again. This even got turned into a meme at some point, and honestly, it was really annoying and disappointing to see them stick with the same thing for so long. None of these games are bad. They are fun and polished games, and the repetitiveness just made them feel worse to play over time. There's a reason that these games sold millions upon millions of copies, and people have a lot of good memories with them. Don't get me wrong, all of these games combined don't even come close to the masterpiece that is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but especially with a new and intuitive game like Wonder being around, I think you could find a lot of enjoyment in these games if you don't expect it to be something life-changing.